All right, welcome to part 5 of the IRex run cycle tutorial series. In this part, we're going to be taking a look at doing an animation pass on the arms and the hands before we kind of move on to refining the rest of this animation. You can see there's still quite a bit that we'll need to clean up, especially with things like the hips and the legs. You can see there's quite a bit of like popping going on here, and we haven't really even animated the toes at all yet. But before we do that, let's go ahead and begin doing a quick pass on the arms. And for this, I'm really just going to kind of focus on the right arm here, and then we'll probably just copy and mirror some of that animation over for our left arm. And we can always tweak the pose of the arm on the left side with an animation layer. But before we actually begin animating, what I'm going to do is tweak the arm pose that we have here and change it up just a little bit. So the first thing that I'm going to do is grab the clavicle control. And I'm going to begin shifting this around because I don't quite like how far forward it is. We're getting this kind of weird pinching between the clavicle and the base of the neck. So I'll probably grab the rotate X and rotate it down a bit to kind of clean up that harsh kind of pinching that was going on. I'll grab the rotate Y, maybe bring it up just a little bit, and then grab the rotate Z and probably bring that back to probably around here should work, just to kind of clean that up just a little bit. Let's go ahead and grab this shoulder control, which is more of kind of like the upper arm control, but we'll begin kind of tweaking this pose here. I'm going to grab the rotate X, and I'm probably going to bring that in a little bit, kind of tuck it under the belly a bit more. So probably something like that should work for us. I'm going to grab the rotate Y and maybe bring it out a little bit, just something like that. And then finally the rotate Z. I'm actually going to bring this forward quite a bit to probably around here or so. And then I want to tweak the actual elbow. I actually want to just bring this arm more forward. So let's go ahead and grab the elbow control, and I'm going to grab the rotate Z and bring it down. I think that looks pretty good. And I'll actually probably grab the rotate X and kind of rotate it out just a bit as well. And then grab the rotate Y. And I'll go ahead and keep the rotate Y kind of where it's at. And we can select the wrist control here, grab the rotate X, bring it in just slightly, and then maybe rotate that wrist down just a tiny bit. Just something a bit more like this on this pose. So I think that will work for us for now. And we can always tweak this overall arm pose on an animation layer once we actually get kind of the arm animated here. All right, so let's go ahead and shift select the 3 arm controls there. And I'm going to just jump forward to frame 3. I'll press S to lock a keyframe down, and we'll begin animating this here. So as the body drops, I'll probably rotate this actually back a little bit on that rotate Z, something like that. Take a look at the rotate Y, actually tuck it in a bit. And then on that rotate X value, I'll actually bring the arm in kind of like that. All right, that looks good. Let's grab the elbow control here. And for this, since the body's dropping, I'm actually going to bring that elbow up quite a bit. So we're getting something that feels a bit more like this. Might dial that back just a tiny bit. I think that works a bit better there. Maybe grab the rotate X value and kind of roll it back a tiny bit. Something like that. Then we can grab this wrist control, grab the rotate Z. I'll start to rotate that up right about there. So we're getting a nice kind of pull with the arm there. Grab the rotate Y. Rotate it out just a tiny bit because the arm is pulling inward toward the body, so that wrist is going to drag behind just a tiny bit. Let's jump to, let's jump to frame 6. Shift select my arm controls here. Press S to lock a keyframe down. And I'll grab the upper arm control, start rotating this. Probably continue that movement in on frame 6. Grab the rotate Y and maybe bring it out a tiny bit. Then grab the rotate Z. Bring it forward. All right, let's grab the elbow control now. I want to grab this rotate Z and really rotate it down pretty far. Something like that. Grab the rotate X, maybe bring it back like that. grab the wrist. And for this, the wrist is still going to be dragging back just a tiny bit. Grab the rotate X. Rotate it back. Again, still kind of dragging behind. Grab the rotate Y, bring that back as well. Something like that. All right, let's go ahead and grab those arm controls again. Jump to frame 9, we'll press S. Let's grab this upper arm control, tweak the rotate Y just a tiny bit, and tweak this arm out along the Y-axis, and rotate Z. Can be still pulling it forward a bit. About like that. Let's grab the elbow control, grab the rotate Z, still pulling down, kind of dragging behind the arm. Something like that. Grab the rotate X. Rotate, kind of twist that arm out just a bit. All right, let's grab the wrist. It's going to be rotating in a little bit here. Same along the Y-axis, rotate that in. Then bring that wrist down. So I think that's working pretty well for us. All right, let's grab the 3 arm controls. Jump to frame 12 on this. Let's grab the upper arm. Starting to bring this out a bit, right around here. Same along the Y-axis, kind of bringing the whole arm out, about like that. Arm is starting to rotate backward. Arm is still trying to rotate forward a tiny bit. As you can see, as the body's rising up, this arm is still going to be kind of swinging forward. All right, let's grab the elbow. Grab the rotate X and bring that, start to rotate that in. And then on the rotate Z, it's going to be dragging a little bit, something like that. And then we can grab the wrist, grab the rotate X, still kind of twisting in. Grab the rotate Y, still moving in toward the body, so I'm going to rotate that in just a little bit, about like that. Then on the rotate Z, I'll probably drag that behind just a tiny bit. All right, so now let's move on to the next pose. So I'm going to just grab my arm controls, move to frame 15, grab the upper arm control. It's going to be kind of rotating in here. Going to rotate it in just a tiny bit more. Grab the rotate Y, push that in toward the stomach. I think that looks good. Maybe reduce the amount that it's pushed in just a tiny bit. Something like that. And here the arm is going to be rotating backwards. Something like that. All right, that looks good. Let's grab the elbow, start posing the elbow out. And for the elbow, I need to really rotate it up. Something like that. Maybe grab the rotate Y and rotate it in just a tiny bit. Then we can grab the wrist, grab the rotate Y, and drag it out. On the Z, start to pull it up. All right, I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and select everything again. Jump to frame 18. I'll press S to lock a keyframe down on everything. Grab the rotate X value for the upper arm. Really start bringing it in. Something like that. Same on the rotate Y. Bring that in toward the stomach. And I might dial back the rotate X just a tiny bit. Something like that. And then on the rotate Z, arm's going to be dropping forward. All right, let's grab the elbow control. I'm going to rotate it down just a tiny bit. Then on the rotate X, might kind of roll that back, something like that. All right, let's grab the wrist. I'm going to rotate it and kind of roll it out. as the arm's kind of pulling in. Grab the rotate Y. Rotate that out as well. Then the rotate Z, I'm going to start pulling the hand up higher. About like that. Now let's grab all the arm controls again. I'm going to jump to frame 21. I'll press S. We can start posing the upper arm. Kind of rotating in. Same on the Z, rotating in as well. Then on the Y, maybe rotating that out just a little bit. And on this, I just want to make sure that I go ahead and copy over the new pose that I created on frame 0. Paste that here. All right, let's grab the elbow on frame 21. This is going to need to be dragging behind quite a bit, so I'll start to bring it down. About like that. Grab the rotate X, kind of roll it. I might need to add one more keyframe in here. I'm kind of seeing what kind of Maya is giving me as far as the in-betweens from 21 to 26. Let me grab all of my arm controls there. Maybe I'll go to like frame 24, lock a keyframe down. Grab the rotate X here. Maybe rotate that in. And this might just be something I do on that elbow here. I feel like it might need to just drag behind a bit more on this frame. Not much. Try something like that. I think that works a bit better. Maybe I went a tiny bit too far with that. I think that looks a bit better. And it's a pretty just simple kind of first pass on this arm here. There's still like a little bit of a pop right here. Let me actually rotate that up a tiny bit. Rotate it down here. I think that might flow a bit better. All right, and of course, currently in our timeline, we have the two contact poses on frame 0 and on frame 26. So if I play this, there's always going to be that one frame hold unless I remove that. So I can play it here and see if that's a bit smoother. If that works a bit better. And we can always tweak this and refine this, but I think this is a decent kind of just quick first pass for the arms that we can get and start to get the arms kind of moving. This is what I like to do when I'm making cycles like this, is really start layering on more and more detail and start getting kind of every part of the character moving in the run cycle, and then go back and really start to kind of refine and further polish that animation. But really, I kind of just want to get sort of the basic overall movement that I create. And for the arms, it's a pretty simple kind of just up and down contained motion for this cycle. So kind of just sort of overlapping with what the body's doing. And what I can actually do real quick is let me grab all the finger controls here. Kind of deselect everything I don't want. Make sure I've just got the fingers selected. I think that looks good. And I'm just going to do a really quick kind of finger pass on this as well. So I might actually just go to like frame 6 maybe. This will be pretty quick, and I'm just going to rotate the fingers out a bit, kind of dragging behind what the body's doing. And then maybe go to like frame 12 and tuck them in a bit. Again, just a really quick, simple kind of finger pass just to make sure they're not completely kind of stiff. Then maybe go to around frame 18 and drag them back. And then they're going to come forward in that contact. So again, just a super simple, quick finger pass on those hands there. And now what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and, with the finger still selected, just shift select the clavicle, the arm controls. And I'm going to use Animate for this. If you don't have Animate, I highly recommend going out and downloading it, trying the 30-day free trial. This is an animation tool that you'll find you'll use very often in your animations. It really just speeds things up. So with all those selected, I'm just going to go to my mirror tool and just do mirror all keys. And it's going to mirror it for the left hand. So basically we're just getting the exact same animation on the left hand, which actually works pretty well. Kind of gets this cool, kind of like creepy, sort of like reaching out with the hands almost in the run cycle. But what we can do is we don't want this to necessarily be 100% exactly the same. Right now the pose is the same and the animation is the same. But to tweak this just a bit, we can select all of our kind of arm controls here. And I'll just throw them on an animation layer over here in your channel box. You can hit this little icon here to add a new animation layer with the current control selected. I'll press S to lock a new keyframe. And then I can just start to kind of just tweak this pose a bit to make it feel a little bit different than the other arm. Maybe just bring it back a tiny bit. Same with the clavicle. And it doesn't need to be drastically different because you do kind of want that sort of similar feeling to them. Right, you wouldn't want like this arm kind of rotated all the way down like that and the other arm doing something completely different. In a broad sense, these are going to be doing something pretty similar through the run cycle, but we can just tweak the pose a tiny bit on a layer to kind of vary it up just slightly. I think something like that will work for us. All right, so we've just done a really quick arm pass for this. In the next video, we're going to be taking a look at the legs and start refining these and cleaning up the animation on the legs. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next part.